So you've obviously seen all five of the cups, whether it be as a fan or now, in your broadcasting career. Which team out of those five cup teams do you think was the best team?
I'm gonna have to go with 1992, and I want to say, in a lot of ways, I want to make sure I give credit to 2017 because for that team to win back to back, hadn't had one in 19 years in the NHL. A lot of people thought it would never happen because of the salary cap era and just the grueling, the taxing journey that it takes to not only go through it once, have the short summer, and then do it again. A lot of people thought that would never happen again, and that team did it without Chris Letang and with a lot of other injuries and adversity that year. So I want to give the appropriate respect to 2017 because I'm really fond of that team and what they were able to do to win back-to-back in this day and age. But my answer is 1992 because that team was just so good, so dominant. Also a team that won back-to-back, but in a different era. And they faced a ton of adversity. Lemieux has a broken hand. The Adam Graves slash, he misses basically a round against the Rangers and part of the Bruins series. They beat two teams that were among the best in hockey, the Capitals and the Rangers that year. I mean, what did they win? 11 straight playoff games, which I think is still a playoff record. They swept Boston. They swept a very good Chicago team. The Blackhawks team that they beat in 92, think about this. Their goalies were Eddie Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Those were the two goalies that they had. I don't know if there's ever been a team that had that caliber of goaltending, 1-2 like that. A young Dominik Hasek who got into Game 4 and ended up giving up the goal to Ron Francis that won the Penguins the Cup that year. But they swept that Chicago team. They had a young Jeremy Roenick and had Dirk Graham and Chris Chelios and Steve Larmer. That was a good team. And they beat that team. They beat a Boston team that had Ray Bourque and Cam Neely and so forth. And then to do what they did without Lemieux for a good chunk of that postseason, and with his biggest, some of his biggest moments, Game 1 in the Blackhawks series, I think is the greatest game in Penguin history. And that goal that Lemieux scores with the seconds ticking down and the Penguins on the power play, that was as close as we've seen the Penguins winning a cup on home ice. They obviously haven't done that. All five have been clinched on the road, but that was as close. You see the bedlam. I love that shot. He scores the goal. You have a great call from Mike Lang. And the camera pans across, and it's just hysteria in the igloo, and the Penguins are celebrating, and it was amazing. Just I remember watching that on TV and just thinking, first of all, they had just won it. There's no way they're losing this series, and they're going to win it again. And that was as close as the Penguins came to winning a cup on home ice. So you just put all those things together. The amount of Hall of Famers that were on that 92 team, 91 as well, but 92 with Rick Tocchet coming into the fold, and Kenny Reggett and Shel Samuelson, some of the moves Craig Patrick made. Even though they were the defending Stanley Cup champs, they still make some very risky trades, trading Recchi and Coffey. It's like it'd be unheard of in this day and age, but they turned out to be the right moves. Kevin Stevens was such a force. Yager was a year older, so I'm going to go with 1992. And all I have to do is look at that roster, and you see why I'd put that team up against just about any in NHL history. It just comes from a place of not being familiar with the game, not being familiar with the live experience of seeing a hockey game, the drama of double overtime, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, that feeling of being in the edge of your seat, that next shot wins. There's nothing like that. Like baseball doesn't have that. They have extra innings, but it's not quite like sudden death, one shot to win. Football, basketball, it's just not the same. So the intensity and the physicality, all the things that make hockey great. I think there are a lot of people who are outside of our hockey world, and they just don't realize that, and they just need to go to a game. I think they just need to open their eyes a little bit more and see some of those things that make hockey great. And I have no doubt that if they did that, then they would be hooked just like a lot of us, and they would have a greater appreciation. It's just a matter of going out there, doing the research, and just embracing it.